Today is the 12th of July 2023, okay? And we want to have a look at some possible probability questions, okay? We've been looking at probability. We've looked at impossible events, and we've looked at certain events. We said probability should be it will always be between 0 and 1. Okay, it will not be less than 0, so you wouldn't have a negative probability, and it wouldn't be greater than 1, so you wouldn't have 1.5 top heavy fractions, more like 101%. You won't have that, okay? And we said probability can be given to you as fractions, as decimals, or as percentages, or in the form 1:3, 5 in 6. Those examples, we look at it. We've done 2 videos on that, okay? Today I want us to look at some questions, okay? I will explain to you what I mean by or is add and end is times. When you are reading a probability question and you see or, you should be thinking about addition. If you see end, you should be thinking about times. But today's questions does not directly involve in that. That's why I've put it in a square, okay, in this square box, but I will explain it further in subsequent when we are answering questions. These questions I've brought here, if you are doing a foundation paper or if you are just expecting a C, there are things you should know. If you are doing a higher paper or you are working in like A star to a B range, is something you should also know, okay? So it's relevant. Everything we've been learning so far, we are going to apply it, like factors, multiples, prime numbers, odd numbers. We are going to apply it into this lesson to understand the question we've been given, and then we use it to solve, okay? So here, the first question I have here is, find the probability of selecting a multiple of 2 or 3 at random between 1 to 30. Okay, now the word here is multiple. We know what multiples are, so we need to find multiples of 2, and then we need to find multiples of 3 and of 3. Okay, so we need to find multiples of 2 or multiples of 3 between 1 to 30. So it's between 1 and 30. 1 is not inclusive, 30 is not inclusive. Okay, so let's look for multiples of 2. You remember we learned least common multiple and highest common factor. Okay, now we need to apply that knowledge. So multiples of 2 here, between 1 and 30. So 1 is not inclusive, and 1 is not even a multiple of 2. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. If you look at the numbers carefully, they are multiples of 2, but they are also even numbers. Okay, so assuming they didn't say multiples of 2 and they replaced that by even numbers, these are still the numbers you should go for. Maths is beautiful in that something you've learned does not always go to waste. You will use it to answer a question, okay, as you grow. So now here we have our multiples of 2, okay, there. So if we want to find the probability of multiples of 2, okay, numbers between 1 to 30 is 30. If you count between 1 and 30, you have 30 numbers. Okay, now multiples of 2: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here we have 14 out of 30. If this is the only question, we can reduce it to the lowest term, okay, and that'll be an answer. Note, because probability answers cannot be greater than 1, assuming we got 15 out of 7, then that might have to raise an issue for us, because it is always less than 1. So we can have top heavy fraction answers. Okay, take note of that. It's very important. Now multiples of 3 here is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and 27. 30 is not included because it says between. Okay, it says between. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 out of 30 for probability of multiples of 3. So we are selecting either multiples of 2 or multiples of 3 between 1 to 30. So we just count all. So if we count all, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So it's here we have 23 out of 30. That will be our answer. Okay. Or we add 14 over 30 to 9 over 30. Okay, so 14 over 30 add 9 over 30, which is 23, because we add the numerators only. So 23 out of 30. Okay, so that is it. And here we can't reduce it any further. So this will be our answer. So either we find the probability separately and add them. That's why I said when there is an or, you add here. But I wouldn't delve in it in detail today. Today we are just looking at the question as it is. Okay, so we list the multiple of 2. the multiples of 3, and then we know that the total number between 1 and 30 is 30. Okay, so we list that, and then we have a total of 23 multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. So our answer is 23 out of 30, and it's less than 1. Okay, because this is a proper fraction, it's not a top heavy fraction, so that's how we know it's less than 1. Let's look at the second question. So find the probability, okay, of selecting or choosing a random number that is greater than 40 and less than 50. So greater than 40 is 41 onwards. Less than 70 is up to 69. From numbers between 1 and 100. So straight away, our denominator should be 100. Okay, now here we are just choosing any number. They didn't say multiples or anything. So we list all the numbers between 41, greater than 40, which starts from 41, and less than 70, which ends at 69. So when you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So we have 29 numbers out of 100. Okay, so that is our probability. So we are choosing a number between 1 and 100. Okay, so we have 100 set of numbers in a bag, but we want only numbers between greater than 40 and less than 70. So that will be our probability to choose any of these numbers. Okay, so there we are. Now the third question. Okay, find the probability of selecting a prime number. So you remember we did prime numbers. 1 is not a prime number, but a number it has a factor of 1 and only itself between 1 and 60. So now here you need to know what a prime number is. Okay, we did prime numbers, we did prime factors. Okay, so I've listed the prime numbers for you between 1 and 60. So here we have 2, 3. All these numbers have factors that is between 1, that is 1 and the number. So you can divide the number by itself and get 1, or divide by 1 and get the number. That is it. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 4 is not a prime number. Okay, we've done this. Okay, so the prime numbers here are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 37, 41, 43, 47, 53 and 59. Okay, so these are the prime numbers we have. Now what do we do now? We count them. So we know that the numbers are 1 to 60, so we have a total number of 60, which will be in the denominator. But what are the prime numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So between 1 and 60, we have 17 prime numbers out of a total of 60. So the probability of selecting a prime number is 17 out of 60. So you see why we have to look at those basic stuff. Okay, if you don't know this and they ask you what is the probability of a prime number between 1 and 10, as simple as the question looks, you will not be able to do it because you basically cannot list the prime numbers. Okay, 51 is not a prime number because 17 times 3 is 51, and 57 is also not a prime number because 19 times 3 is 57. That is why I crossed them out. Okay. Question 4. Find the probability of selecting odd number randomly between 1 and 100. Okay. Randomly means you don't see, you just dip your hand and pick. Okay, like what they do at times when they are trying to find a winner, they just dip their hands and pick a ticket. Okay, so you shake the bag and then you pick one, but they're asking you that what is the probability of having an odd number. We know what an odd number is. Okay, now it says between, so 1 is not involved, 100 is not involved, so our odd number should start from 2 up to 99. Okay, but we know that 2 is an even number, 3 is an odd number, 5 is an odd number, 7 is an odd number. Okay, so we know what odd numbers are. Now between 1 to 100, you have 50 odd numbers. Okay, so you have 50 odd numbers between 1 to 100. You can check. Okay, it's a lot, so I didn't list them, but it's every other number after the even number. So 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. So you go on till you get to 100, and there are 50 in total. So now the probability of selecting a number between 1 and 100 that is odd will be 50 out of 100, which is half. This is also not a top heavy number. Okay, so, and it's less than 1. So this is a clue that we are having the right answer. Okay, but you can check as well. Okay, Find the probability of selecting factors of 5 and factors of 7 randomly between 1 and 50. So here again, between 1 and 50, we need to look for factors of 5 and factors of 7. We did highest common factor. Okay, so the highest common factor for 3 numbers will be the highest number that can divide those 3 numbers and give us whole numbers. But here we are just supposed to list the factors of 5. So here again, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. It says between, so 50 will not be included. Now let's look at factors of 7. So basically, the 7 times table till we get to 49. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. Okay, so the probability of choosing any of these factors of 5 or factors of 7 between 1 and 50 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 factors of 5, and then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 out of 50. And if you reduce it, or we have it, we have 8 out of 25. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you today. Everything we've learned so far, you need to learn them, because these are the basic stuff if you are doing a foundation paper. Even if you're expecting a C, this is are things you should know. Okay, because if you don't know them and they put them in a question form, like in a probability question, as simple as they may look, you might not be able to do anything about them. Okay, so if you don't understand prime numbers, multiples, prime factors, just go back and watch the video and help yourself to understand them. It will help you a lot. Okay, so a quick recap for today. We've just tried to solve this question. I said I'll explain this. I used the or in the first question. I wanted to use the end in the time and the last question, but I realized that we are going a little beyond 23 minutes, so I want to stop here for today. But I would bring some questions which is a bit more difficult whilst we continue learning about this. I'll bring some questions and explain this to you. Maybe what I might do in the next lesson is to leave the probability questions a bit so that you can, I guess, relax and learn what we've learned so far, and then maybe do some recap on percentage, fractions, and decimals. Okay, and see, and then from there we'll go back to probability. Okay, so Thank you for watching today's lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay.